shining bulls and shining bears, and welcome to the 5th episode of the Crypto Astrology Podcast. We're going to take a look at this week in Bitcoin and Ether price, but first, please always feel welcome to check out the Shining Bull website, where I have offerings for all suns, from a trading signal service and portfolio reports to Vedic astrocartography, a partner's reading, a one-question service, as well as several books and book bundle deals. And if nothing is within your price range, then don't worry, just follow me on Twitter and follow me here on the YouTube, where I give a lot of free information. So now we're going to look at this week in BTC and ETH price. I, the astrologer, live in Newfoundland, so all of this is going to be in Newfoundland time, which is its own time zone in the world. You need to search Newfoundland time. Okay, so let's get going. Firstly, and this is an interesting week, by the way. So let's get started with this week, which is an interesting week indeed. Because it's the week preceding Saturn turning retrograde. So, firstly, on Sunday, I see that we are up for the first half of the day due to Jupiter and Sun's reassuring Navamsha placements. But then the second half of Sunday doesn't look so good, as Moon starts trining Venus. And Venus in Cancer has been causing our industry some serious issues lately, and so that's why I see that for Sunday. And then next, Sunday night into Monday morning, there is a strange shift, which I predict starts moving all markets up. And it is due to the understanding that when Saturn turns retrograde, we will be falling again. So basically, there are some important government deliberations that are going to be happening that create a situation where administrators are making unexpected moves. And this makes traders try for one last push up before another drop, before the next drop comes. So basically what I'm saying again is that Sunday night into Monday morning, we go up as a result of that. And then Monday all the way through to midday on Monday, I also see that we'll be going up until Moon hits the exact trine to Mars, sending us down again in the middle of the day on Monday. Next, on Tuesday, we are up almost the whole day. And this is especially because Venus hits Saturn's cuspal degree in the sky. And Saturn has been transiting 8th from Venus. And so I just tracked what that has been doing. And so anyway, basically what I'm saying is Tuesday I see that we'll be up almost the whole day. But the only thing about Tuesday is that Tuesday can see the onset of some troubles specifically for Ethereum or Ether. Okay, so next, Wednesday and Thursday, I am predicting that we are also generally up. But remember that ETH has the potential to be responding differently and falling while BTC rebounds up. Remember that this rebound that I'm mentioning is basically a fake out, because starting on Saturday, another sustained drop should initiate. And I didn't mention Friday, but all I can say right now about Friday is that it's going to be volatile and emotional, and I would bet on an upward fake out before the drop starts on Saturday, when Saturn, coinciding with Saturn turning retrograde. And that's because the Moon will be transiting closely with a strong Mercury, while both are in the zone of Venus's cuspal degree, who is transiting in Cancer, 3rd from Moon and Mercury. But Friday is a very difficult day to be trading, actually. But anyway, but that's what I see for Friday, okay? An upward fake out preceding the drop that initiates on Saturday. Okay, so now before I go on to the news, I want to mention, please stay tuned for a video I'm going to be uploading really soon in the next few days, where I'm going to go over the results of my yearly prediction books thus far, and then I'm going to explain where this oncoming drop that I'm talking about is going to end. And I can tell you now that we don't have too much longer to go. Basically, beginning of July, we are out of the woods completely, but we should be dropping from the 17th until the first day of July, July 1st. And this drop should be correctional in nature. That means that new all-time lows will not be happening here as I see it. It should be correctional. However, retests of previous lows are definitely likely. But so also obviously watch this week how far up we travel to know what type of retest zones we will be hitting between the 17th of June and the 1st of July. Okay, so now that was the weekly forecast for the week ahead for Bitcoin and Ether price. And for intraday traders, my signal service is the best. I have wildly reduced prices, and I have those bundles that you can get also to get special deals. And so I would say, just look into that if you are a day trader, if you are placing several trades within the same day. Not swing traders, day traders. Okay. Swing traders can if they're interested, but okay. So next, let's talk about some news items from the past week. First, I want to briefly address a specific new regulatory framework in Europe called the EU Travel Rule Regulation, which will go into effect at the same moment as Europe's MiCA regulation, which is expected to happen in January of 2025. Now, this caught my eye because my Bitcoin by 2026 long-term Bitcoin price cycle prediction book. In that book, I mentioned that at the beginning of 2025 is going to be very positive for Bitcoin price. And it's interesting because what I have noticed as an astrologer, generally speaking, is that when sun is strong in the sky, meaning when sun is positioned in places of specific strength to the sun, then we usually have firm moves made by regulators. And this is because sun represents government and leaders on our earthly plane. But at the same time, due to the strength of the sun, the crypto market also tends to respond favorably. And this is likely because both Bitcoin and Ethereum, who lead the industry, have important natal planets in sun-ruled nakshatras. So it does seem that Europe's MiCA and travel rule regulation will further the next bull run because, as I mentioned, those regulations come into effect January of 2025, coinciding with my prediction in that book where I look at the long-term price cycle that the first part of 2025 is going to be very nice for Bitcoin price. Now, about the EU travel rule regulation specifically. It requires that crypto transactions will be linked to the identities of the sender and the receiver. But what is nice about this is that it does not set this requirement for transactions between self-custodied wallets which are not using crypto asset service providers. Okay? So what I see is that this will create a situation where people who want to transact privately and at the same time to be able to live off of their crypto wealth on a day-to-day basis will need to go to countries or jurisdictions where Bitcoin has been normalized as payment for everything from luxury assets such as real estate and cars to everyday necessities. Now, with that in mind, I want to get to the second item, which is Tether, the issuer of USDT, and a recent news item related to it. So I have been mentioning Tether a lot actually because they have started doing some pretty interesting things which are coinciding with Jupiter's transit in a foretelling way. I recommend that you take a second look at the second episode of this podcast, which covered the week of Sunday, May 21st for reference. It covers Tether's Bitcoin reserves and the future of the US dollar. So please take another look at that. But for now, about this. I noticed that Tether has made yet another announcement, which hit the crypto press on June 5th, when Moon trined Jupiter in the sky. This time, Tether announced that it is a first-round investor in El Salvador's Volcano energy project. El Salvador seems to be on a path to being a prime example of the type of country that people will be flocking to in late 2025 or early 2026, as per my Bitcoin by 2026 long-term prediction book, where I foresee some very interesting things. Okay, so those people who have large amounts of their net worth in Bitcoin will be going to places where they can transact freely and privately in their Bitcoin. And El Salvador's Volcano energy project will be a renewable energy park that is going to be powering Bitcoin mining farms. And like in a huge way, because they have a huge amount of renewable potential there, okay? So due to Tether's announcements consistently coming out during days when the moon has been transiting in relation to Jupiter, I'm paying special attention to them. As an astrologer, I see that Tether is currently acting out of a very visionary space, and that these actions that they are currently undertaking now are going to lay a framework for the kind of alternative Bitcoin world which is coming up in starting like 2025, 2026, where people who have large amounts of their net worth in crypto will be able to live in jurisdictions where they can spend it freely and privately. So please also refer to last week's podcast, where I talk about the implication of Tether's and others' investment into renewable energy powered mining operations in other countries such as Uruguay and Bhutan. And definitely subscribe and hit the notifications bell, especially because I'm releasing some important videos in the next few days about the way the market is going to be moving the next few months. So thank you so much, and I will see you next week.